Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I am pressed for time as I usually seem to be this time of year, so we're going to keep this one short and sweet, and we're just going to look at some recent pickups, sort of what I've been buying over the last maybe month and a half. Have some really cool stuff here, and we're going to start with just two cheap, low-hanging fruit buybacks, courtesy of the 2025 Topps Advent Calendar. For the second straight year, they are doing a buyback program in this calendar. This year in particular, you get two individually wrapped Topps buybacks. Your experience may vary. There really seem to be some nice ones and then plenty of not so nice ones. But I am really pleased with these two, which I picked up for under $5 each. And we start off with the 2015 Topps Big Papi David Ortiz. Always loved the 2015 Topps design. I love the multicolored borders that are often team color matching, like they are here. This very much reminds me of like 1975 Topps or 1990 Topps in terms of being one of those rare sets in the Topps, 75-year run of flagship baseball card sets now that has multicolored borders. So love that David Ortiz. And again, just a cheap pickup. Unfortunately for David, he is card number 500. And that spot is held down in the buyback Franken set by a stamped 1/1 1975 Nolan Ryan. So Ortiz will not be making the buyback Franken set, but this will be going in a special project that I'm doing that I've alluded to a couple of times now. And amazingly, it's going to sit right beside the opening day version of this buyback that I got from my good buddy Brent over at Brent Richards and Baseball Cards. And then the other buyback that I have is actually destined for my Negro Leagues Z Folio album that I'm building out. Again, from this year's Advent Calendar program, I got a Allen and Ginter Monty Irvin. Originally a 2022 Allen and Ginter, and I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but I'm working on kind of a 2-page spread in that album that contains nothing but Allen and Ginter buyback cards, believe it or not, of players who once played in the Negro Leagues. Monty obviously checks that box, and what a great portrait on this one as well. And again, just a really cheap but fulfilling pickup that is going to fill an empty slot in that binder that is growing closer and closer to completion. And that's also a great segue into the next two cards. These are going to be Josh Gibson cards, and they are directly related to this one that you see up in the background. I covered this in a recent video as well. So honored to have it. This is the 2025 Panini Prism Gold Vinyl 1/1. This is Josh Gibson's first and to date only appearance in the Panini Prism baseball release, and it was just this year in 2025. I am ecstatic to own that 1/1, and I mentioned in that video that I wouldn't really be pursuing like the full rainbow of that parallel. Really trying to keep the collection more of a manageable size. There are like dozens of different parallels in Prism, and so I was going to hold to kind of that and a couple of others that I showed in that initial video, but two other copies surfaced that really spoke to me and were also incredibly reasonably priced. And so I went ahead and added both of them. The first is the reason that I have this cool Papa Bell up in the background. This is from the 2024 release, and it's the Snakeskin Prism. Just a really cool effect on the sides of this card with like a black, white, and red kind of skin or a snakeskin texture. So super cool. These are not numbered, but they are very, very scarce. You kind of have to know a little bit about the Prism set to realize how few of those are out there, but you will be lucky if you see a copy surface at all for any particular player. I would guess that there are fewer than 10 and maybe even more like 5 or so, but I really can't substantiate that in any way. But as you may guess, the Snakeskin Prism card is back for 2025. And I managed to find a Josh Gibson. So again, same pattern on the border. It just looks gorgeous, especially in hand. It actually looks even a little bit better in hand than I think it comes across on video. But again, has that amazing etching, which I commented on last time. Just look at the catcher's gear there, chest protector. Just an awesome, sneaky cool Josh Gibson card. And this is one of the few parallels that I've kind of gone after for like my guys that are in this set. And it was also insanely cheap. Again, I think because these are unnumbered, sometimes sellers don't necessarily know what they have. And this is the only copy of this that I have seen to date that has surfaced on eBay in the last 2 or 3 months since the set was released. and I got it for, I think, $12 and change. So really pleased with that one. And then closing out the Josh Gibson, again, didn't plan on moving into this particular parallel, but I do love it. And it's the Cherry Blossoms, which I believe is new for 2025 in Prism. Obviously has that cherry blossom, pink border, which is kind of cool. And then in the background, which you can really see here, has that kind of whirling effect, which is sometimes referred to as like a scope prism, and I think was used by other companies back in the 90s as well. I know, again, my buddy Brent, not to reference him too much here, but he's a fan of that effect as well. So this was a pleasant surprise. I knew looking at this online that it had the kind of cherry blossom action going on the sides, but I did not realize the extent of the shine and the pattern that was built into the background until I got this one in hand. These are serial numbered to just 20 copies. And again, I still don't know if I would have necessarily gone for this one, but this copy in particular spoke to me. It was hanging out there for weeks as a buy it now, and I noticed towards the end that it's copy 20 of 20. You can see right there, which is kind of cool in and of itself. I know obviously everybody kids around eBay one of one, final one in the print line, but my attraction to this is that Josh Gibson's uniform number was 20 for the Homestead Grays. So this is like a double uniform number card, 20 out of 20 for the infamous number 20. Love the effect there. And, again, having the Superfractor one of one kind of made a couple more of these attractive to me, just to kind of build out a little bit more on that collection. So that's it for Josh Gibson for today's video. A man who doesn't have necessarily a ton of cards out there, but I love what I've been able to pick up in the recent past on that front. And then another player that I've spoken about recently and is on just about every modern baseball collector's mind of late is Shohei Otani. I'm not going to recap the amazing season and postseason that he just had. You've heard it enough and elsewhere and here in the past. But as I've mentioned, I think a couple videos back now, I have been working on collecting some of his Nippon professional baseball cards from 2013 through 2017, which was the 5-year span that he played over in Nippon professional baseball in Japan, prior to migrating to Major League Baseball in 2018. And I've shown in a previous video the complete run of Calbee cards that come with chips and other snacks over there in Japan. So I completed his 5-card run of Calbee that covers that era. And I decided after that to move on to BBM. And these are very famous Nippon professional baseball cards. They're made by Baseball Magazine, which is where the BBM comes from. They've got a long history that goes back more than 30 years, maybe almost 40 years now, of producing a set continuously. And they are issued, I believe, in packs. So they're a little more similar to the US trading cards that we're familiar with in that respect. And so I've decided to go after a little bit of a career BBM base card run for Ohtani as well. And I don't have all of them yet, and I don't have all of them to show in today's video, but I do want to show the trio from 2014. So this would have been his second year over in Nippon professional baseball. His rookie cards came in 2013, and he was included in both the first and second series or version for BBM in 2014. So in the first version, we have this batting card, card number 137, and I was lucky enough to find all of these in my favorite PSA 9 slabs with that beautiful frosting and kind of proper gasket. So these just present really, really well. Just like with the Calbees, did not break the bank on any of these. These are just base cards, quote unquote, but I love them, and it's kind of been a fun way to dip my toes into the NPB waters a little bit here in the hobby. So great hitting image there on the 2014, and this is what the backs look like. If you're curious, again, I can't make out what most of that says, but just having fun learning more about this league. Have some other great Japanese baseball cards that are coming soon to the channel. But for today, let's continue on. So that card was number 137, and those with a keen eye will note that this one is also number 137. So BBM is more similar to modern US issues for more than one reason, not just the fact that the cards are issued in packs, but also because they have things like image variations and short prints and parallels and things like that. So this is basically like a short printed image variation of that card number 137, obviously pitching here. And so kind of cool that they did that, included him on a short print, doing the other activity that he's known for on the mound. And then in the second series in 2014, that's where he got his proper, base pitching card. Card number 535. This is not a short print or anything, just a base card, just like the one you see in the back. The kind of horizontal image pitching card is the one that's a short print, and you can tell because it's the same card number as the hitting card. But a couple great clean images there. These really have bright color, great photographs, very, very similar to Calby in a lot of ways. Just kind of a minimalist design, and it really lets the photo kind of speak for itself. The backs on the second versions look a little bit different, but it is one contiguous or continuous checklist from the first version through the second, and it does make up one set, just released in two versions, much like Topps does here in the States for Major League Baseball with Series 1 and Series 2, except that many of the players in BBM, especially the stars, are repeated and have cards in both series. And that's the case even for players who aren't dual role players like Ohtani and only play one position. You will still often see them in both the first and second version BBM sets, which is something that I think, and at least in my early research, is a little bit different from Calby. So that is the complete trio of 2014 BBM base cards there. And then I also have two more Ohtani cards in today's video, the pair from 2017. So this is his final year in Nippon Professional Baseball. And these are extra cool because anyone who watched my Calby video may remember he was only included in the 2014 through 2016 Calby sets, meaning his final Calby cards came in 2016, and he is not in the Calby release in 2017, which was his final year over in Japan. So these BBMs kind of fill a nice gap for me in my Ohtani collection because I would like a card or two from every year of his pro career. And so BBM is the obvious choice for 2017. Again, we have a first version and a second version card. In this case, it is flipped around where the first version card is the pitching image. And I love the shot of this one, almost kind of like elevated from up and behind the batter's box, maybe like a view almost that an umpire would have if Shohei was about to deliver a pitch towards you. Really cool. Card number 2 on the checklist. I think there is a short print image variation of this card that shows him hitting, and I do not yet own that one, but I do have the base pitching. And then from Series 2 in 2017, basically his final BBM card from his Nippon Professional Baseball days, card number 388, the hitting image, and another great hitting shot there. Looks like he's about 11 feet tall, post swing here. And yeah, just really cool. I dig these, even though I can't read the backs. I just love the history here, and I love the continuity behind expanding a little bit on my pre-MLB Shohei collection and kind of connecting his years in Japan right into smoothly into his career in Major League Baseball from 2018 to present. And again, my aim is to collect at least a couple of cool cards from every year that he's played, 2013 all the way to present. But for today, we'll leave it there for the Ohtani talk. I do have two other cards that I want to get to here to close out the video. Also recent pickups, and back over to this side of the pond now for Major League Baseball to close out the video. And the first one here is really neat. I could not believe I won this at the price that I did. One of my favorite modern parallels, and a set that I've talked about quite a bit recently that is kind of gaining in terms of my favorites in my own mind as I go over things and sort of continuously evolve as a collector. And that is 2019 Topps. Check this out. Managed to score the Independence Day parallel of Shohei's recent teammate, the now retired Clayton Kershaw. Love this image. How about that? 2019 Independence Day is just fantastic. This again was already a graded PSA Fine 9, my favorite. And honestly, I threw like a random snipe out on this, not expecting to win at all, because I know that Kershaw is arguably the most collected and has the most fans of any pitcher in the 21st century, at least as far as what his hobby prices reflect. And so I did not think I had a chance at this, but I don't mind sharing it. I was really shocked. I won this for, I think, under $45, already graded as a PSA 9. Absolutely love that. Would love to someday own his 2018 Independence Day. Do not have a copy of that one, but for now, really pumped to have this graded 2019, numbered as they always are to 76. Copy 26 of 76. So recent World Series champion and future Hall of Famer and former teammate of the great Shohei Otani, Clayton Kershaw. Pumped to add that one to the collection. And then we'll close it out with a graded card that I was also kind of surprised was out there and available when I did a little more research on it. And I've talked in recent episodes, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of hobby firsts and kind of got obsessed with learning about all the different brands, their lineage, and which cards they decided to put as number one on their first checklist and sort of lead off their brand with. And one of the other alleys that I went down during that research was some of the parallels that I love. And the one that we're going to look at today is Topps Gold. These are beloved parallels. They started back in 2001 Topps to kick off the new century in the hobby, and they're always numbered to the year of production. They've continued on for more than 25 or for 25 straight years now, all the way through 2025 Topps. And I believe they will continue on for the foreseeable future. And they are widely regarded and beloved here in the hobby. So, of course, where I'm going with this, I got to thinking, what is the very first serial numbered Topps Gold card? Who is card number one on the 2001 Topps checklist? And can I find their Topps Gold parallel? And it turns out it is a fantastic player that is an all-time favorite of mine. Talk about him frequently here on the channel. None other than Cal Ripken Jr. So check it out. And not only that, as you could surmise, I was able to find a graded copy of this. Now, this took a saved search of maybe a month or two, waiting just to find any Ripken. I didn't care if it was graded or not. I just wanted this card in the gold parallel, being card number one on the checklist. As you can see here, this is literally the very first numbered Topps Gold. Here is the serial numbering clear on the back there in gold foil. Love when they would do that back in the day. Copy 1718 of 2001. I love that Cal ended up being the very first person to get the serial numbered Topps Gold treatment. And I don't see myself ever going crazy and collecting a ton of these. I tend to gravitate towards cards with lower print runs. And these are, up into, a couple thousand and greater. However, the allure of this being first, combined with it being a player who I admired so much growing up and still consider a favorite to this day, and then combined with finding this beautiful graded copy available. And what I learned, I don't think I was looking this up incorrectly. I should have double checked it before the video, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the only copy of this card that has ever been submitted to PSA. I believe it is a Pop 1 in any grade. It got a PSA 7. I don't care about that at all. It looks great to me. These borders on the original older Topps Gold cards are just fantastic. Nowadays, they do more like a dull gold color. But back in 2001, this thing really, really shines and has some great kind of intricate detail to it. The borders chip very easily. So again, I really don't care what the grade is here. Just wanted a copy and just ecstatic to have this in the collection to kind of join my other firsts that I've picked up here in 2025. So always a new rabbit hole to go down or a new kind of lane to check out or do some research on. And I am just enjoying the hobby so much. And a card that I never thought about until recently, despite being in the hobby for almost 20 years again now as an adult. Just love it. So that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Did not mean to go almost 20 minutes, but if you stuck with me for this one, really appreciated it. Just have a little bit of time here. Wanted to hop on and share a little bit of what I've been doing in the hobby, even though I've been silent here as far as YouTube content. Have been steadily picking up cards as always. I hope those of you that are in the hobby have been doing the same, enjoying it, finding some cards that you like. And I'll certainly be back soon, as you know. Until then, take care.